So, welcome to this short podcast this afternoon. Again, this is Bob McMahon at Campus IACFB. And this afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit about how a factor can set up their listing over at the Directory of American Factors and Lenders. Okay. So with that, here I am at IACFB Academy again. And I can go over to the links, and it's going to go down here to IACFB Lenders Directories. I'll click on that. And this takes us to the directories. Okay. So again, we've got 5 categories in the directories. We have commercial factors, asset-based lenders, alternative commercial lenders, and this would be like merchant cash advance, equipment finance and lessors, and of course, brokers and consultants. We have a category this now in place for our brokers and consultants. So in this particular in this podcast, we're going to talk about commercial factors and how they set up their listing. So we're going to take a look here. I'm going to go ahead and do a search right here. I'm going to go over here to this big purple button. Okay, and what this does is this takes us to what we call the preview cards of all the factors that we've got in here. Okay. These are preview cards. They give you a little bit of information about the factors. And then once you just determine this is a factor you want to take a look at, you can then click on it, like right here. And this will take you to the complete listing, the profile here for that particular factor. How to get in touch with them and so on. Okay. I set up a fictitious company right here, XYZ Factors, and I'm going to walk you through this in just a minute. Okay, so let's go back here to home. And when you come in as a factor, the first thing you have to do is you have to go up here where I've already logged in, but you need to set up an account. And all you have to do is put in your name, first and last name, and a email address, and your account will be set up. So it's very quick, very easy. And then once you set up your account, what you're going to do is you're going to go to add a listing right here, which will take you to this page. And all you do is you select what kind of a listing do you want to add. Commercial factors, asset-based lending, alternative commercial finance, equipment leasing, or broker. Okay, we give you some YouTubes to help you out here. Okay, but you would take right here to do a factor. You would go right here and click on that, and it is going to give you a blank form. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go back home. And I'm going to go over here to the preview cards. And since I've already set this one up, I'm going to go here and I'm going to edit that listing. I've already set this up, but I'm going to walk you through this and I will edit this listing. Now, for a lot of you factors, you'll find that we already have a listing in here for you. You cannot edit it though, because you didn't actually put it in. We did at IACFB. So what you're going to do is take a look at your existing listing, which would be very scant, and where you're going to create a brand new listing for your company. And then once you do that, we will delete our listing and we will activate your listing and you'll be ready to go. Okay. But for our brokers, we give them a database of factors and lenders, and the listings just need to be updated, if you will. Okay. So in this case, what we've done is we've created this XYZ Capital. And I'll go ahead and change this right now. We're going to turn it into ABC Capital. Capital, okay. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to update this about us description. This is a description of your company. And we give you up to 1,500 characters here. So you can put a lot of information about your company right here. And you should. You should be adding a lot of information about your company in here. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is your primary assets finance, and this is required. Here, as a factor, we're accounts receivable. Now you're an accounts receivable factor, so obviously you do your primary assets finance are accounts receivable. But some of you all also do some inventory finance. You've got an arm of your company that's an asset-based lending arm. You may add some other things like purchase order finance and so on. Okay, this is your primary area. Okay. Then here it gives you factoring services required. This is the type of factoring that you provide. Advanced factoring, non-notification, seasonal factoring, spot factoring. And again, I may find some others in here. For example, maybe we do international factoring as well. And maybe we could do some very small companies. Maybe we do some micro factoring. Okay. The next thing you're going to be looking at is related financial services. In this case, this is a factor that not only does factoring, but it also does loans against receivables. Again, I can take a look at this. Do we do credit insurance? Well, maybe we do credit insurance for our clients. Maybe we do some letters of credit, provide that for international. So we can put in whatever we want here. Now, the next thing is your preferred industry. Now, this is kind of an area that's very important as a factor when you fill this out. We give you up to 30 preferred industries. And these are industries that you prefer to finance, and it can be anything that you normally do: janitorial services, staffing companies, freight bill factoring, whatever. We give you up to 30. Now, the reason for this is if somebody comes to the directories and they are looking for a financing for their staffing company, they can click on to search for staffing company factoring. And if you have it included in your preferred industries, you're going to show up. You see. So in this area, it's kind of interesting. You know, everybody, for example, you got an awful lot of factors that will do staffing. You got an awful lot of factors that just do commercial services and so on. If you get more specific and start looking at individual areas, it's a good idea to add some of those, because you may be one of the only 2 or 3 factors that actually added that. For example, here I've added coffee and tea manufacturing. Well, it's not something you do every day probably, but is that a unique area? Yeah. And if somebody has a B2B business that's involved in coffee and tea manufacturing, and they're looking for a financing, you would like to see your name pop up. Okay, so this is a very important area. You want to use, you know, we have a lot of factors that don't use all 30 of them. You ought to really use 30 of them, though. You get the most bang for the buck here. Okay. The next thing would be will not finance. These are areas that you will not factor. Now, in this case, I said healthcare, third party insurance, but it could be. I can add here that maybe you don't do freight bill factoring. Okay, I'll put that one in. Maybe you don't do agricultural receivables. You've got that idea that you don't want to factor anything that grows. So I'll put that one in there. Okay, the minimum client size. This is required, and this is an important area. Put in your minimum funding if you're looking for clients, but you want at least 15,000 or 20,000 or 25,000. In this case, I've selected 25,000, but I can put in anything I want here. I'll turn it into 20,000. Okay. And then the same thing on your maximum client size. Say we'll factor up to $2 million. Okay. The next thing is going to be your primary location. And you put in your primary location here, and it'll pull it up and it gives a map. And then additional office locations. If you're a factor and you've got 6 or 7 or 8 office locations, although we only put in one map for your main office, you can put in the additional locations right down here, as many as you want. And then, of course, your website right here, and then let it start with http:// put in your website, and then that will populate your button at the top that shows you how to get to your website. Okay. And we take care of this fixed cover image. We take care of this logo image. This is the logo for your company. Okay. Then your phone number, your broker details. Now here, this is kind of an important area because the Directory of American Factors and Lenders is a database that's set up for the relationship between brokers and referrers and the factors and lenders. So here you want to be able to say, okay, brokers, yeah, we're looking for new brokers all the time. We want more and more brokers, and we pay good commissions and so on. And you'll give them a little information about your company, what it actually does. Do you have an in-house training program? Do you have IACFB training program? And I'll talk more about that later. Okay, but if you are an IACFB, a lot of people will just say pays for referrals. Okay, or we pay standard industry rates. Now, if you are an IACFB lending member, which is really inexpensive, you can then say, yeah, we offer IACFB training, which you can for free. And we also have a company showcase. In other words, we have a complete article about our company, what we do for brokers, if we have productivity bonuses and that type of thing. We have an article about your company over in our magazine. So this is just this is the broker details, and we're going to have probably a different video on that to give you more details on that. Okay. Right here, if you've got a BDO or the factor that you want a broker to submit deals to, you can put in the BDO's name right here. The last thing here is social networks. If you're involved, or you're probably all involved in LinkedIn, but if you're involved in Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and so on, you just add those in. You can put as many as you want right here. Gallery images, you can have gallery images. We don't recommend more than 3, but the gallery images can be people that work with you in your office. It can be pictures of your office, whatever you really want, you see, and they'll show in there. I'll show them to you in a minute. Okay. Then if you have any active broker promotions, we'll have another video on this, a new YouTube on this one. But if you have an active promotion, for example, if you're trying to build up your network, and let's say you're running a productivity contest, okay? Well, the way you do that is through IACFB, because we will put something on your preview card, and we will also promote that on the IACFB magazine in your showcase presentation. Okay, and what we do is we create this showcase right here where a broker can see, they can take a look at your preview card. They can say, well, yeah, I need a factor that does janitorial services, but look at this factor right here. He's got a contest. let me go see what that contest is. And they can go right to the company showcase and they can see what the contest is all about, how they can qualify for it and so on. And that could be a broker that would send a deal to you, you see. Okay. So that's basically how you do this. It's very, very simple. Let me go ahead and save this. Okay, now I'm going to go back over here and we're going to take a look at the XYZ factors right here. Okay, so here, for example, is we changed it to ABC factors. But here you see active prize awards contest. And you see it's got a little kind of square right here. What happens is when we do that, it automatically takes your listing and puts it at the top. You see? And the fact that it's got this little blue check mark, that means that there's actually a showcase over at the American or the IACFB magazine. Now, I didn't do one for this particular fictitious listing, but if I were to go down to, let me go down here to just 1 second. American Receivable. Now they've got a showcase. Let's go ahead and pull this up. And let's say they had a contest or whatever going on, a productivity contest. They're trying to build their network of brokers and referrers up. Okay, so this gives them obviously the profile. But if you go down here where it says details for brokers, it says commissions, and this will see company profile. And here we have the profile, and we can click on that. And that will take us to the IACFB magazine, right to this article that in the spotlight, American Receivable. And this profile, the showcase, tells you all about American Receivable. It gives you, if you want to, for example, put in your broker's agreement, you can put that in here for download. You can put in, if you're running a contest, you can put in all the information about the contest right here. So you have a lot of flexibility. And of course, with this, when you get into this, you also have the ability to use IACFB for training. So you may have a small in-house training program, but if you're running contests, you can actually train your brokers using the IACFB Academy. And again, we'll talk more about that in a later video. Okay, but and it's really a good deal. Yeah. Okay. So that's exactly how you do that. Very, very simple. And again, you may, if you're on LinkedIn, you may get an email or something from IACFB saying, hey, look, we've got your company in the directory, but it needs to be updated. Well, this is how you do it. You go in, you set it up, and you update it. And again, when we take a look at yours, when it comes in, we delete ours, and then we activate yours, and then you've got the latest information about your company and what it's doing over at the Directory of American Factors and Lenders. Okay, so it's really simple, very easy to do. And with that, I will probably let you go this afternoon. If you get a chance, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, and with that, I will let you go this afternoon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.